I'm going to speak about HollyWood. I'm sitting next to the HollyWood tree. In this video, I'll also really clarify how we are not here to integrate the shadow, and I'll explain very clearly because people still don't understand. There is no shadow. I will also explain why Earth and our presence here is very important, not just for Earth, but for the entire cosmos. And we might walk around the garden a little bit. So I'm still having a lot of light intelligence coming into me because we have a practice of sitting by the fire every evening and also letting the sunlight come in from about 4:30 to about 7:30 into our eyes. Plus, Claude is walking around the yard right now, and I'm walking around the yard, and we're doing a lot of gardening. When I pretty much retired from doing sessions, I noticed something happened within my body. I had this compulsion to somehow continue to slave myself, to self-sacrifice and enslave myself to this whole reptilian scarcity system. So that was really interesting for me. That's been an ongoing interesting thing when you stop doing what the system wants from you. And if we all just stop doing what the system wants, the scarcity system, the overlay, the demiurge structure, we would have paradise on earth immediately. But I think that it is so deeply ingrained because of the drama that the reptilians need. So I'm going to talk about the reptilian overlay. Now, Earth is a perfect paradise, and people are still confused that somehow Earth is evil. Earth is not evil. The overlay by the colonizers, or you might say the invaders, who were slaves to a mechanical type of a race called the Anunnaki, who project themselves forward by going through different star systems, different system environments like ours, and cannibalizing it until it's a desert or the star, like the sun, actually dies. And we're on the precipice right now of that because people still don't understand. They're still integrating and addicted to the reptilian shadow. So what I understand reptilians to be, and I took some, artifacts and put them in the community post page, so you can see there is very clear evidence of upright lizard people or upright snake people called the Nog. Okay, that's the Draconians. Think about a crocodile or an alligator. That's a predator. It does not cooperate. It's a stealth hunter, and it eats its own children. So, an egg of hundreds of alligator babies, most of them will be eaten by their own father. So they're a psychopathic race, okay? They are not supposed to be here, neither are sharks or most of the predatory bugs. So those things came when we fell into what I'm going to call density 1. So we're in the lowest density possible. Remember, Earth was several other things. First of all, we were in M31 Andromeda, so we're not even in the right galaxy. And then it fell to Tara, which was part of Alcyon. And then the Pleiadians are all dead, unresolved consciousnesses. But yes, we do have some of their DNA. And then it fell to Gaia, and now, they call it Eartha, all right, in the galaxy, Earth. And this is the most important, what I'm going to consider, game in the cosmos, this one, because if this time field collapses, not only will our star black hole, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but then you will not be able to be in infinite consciousness as you are supposed to be. So the reptilians, and I put up a picture of an unbelievable Draco Queen with the chin. And if you look at her image, and she's the HollyWood designer, like they call her the Queen of HollyWood, HollyWood. So I could talk about what I've noticed about this tree and why they called it HollyWood. I might go there too. But that Draco Queen, she needs to get applause. So they tend to be dramatists because they have no identity. They're slaves to the machine that are the Anunnaki, right? They come in spaceships because they can't go in their rainbow light body of their star Merkaba. So they are machine technologists. And the most important thing in the multiverse is genetics. Like, that is the most important thing. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's not oil, it's not any of these things. It's genetics. So you'll see the race that aligned with them were from Isis Ra El. And that's why they invented the cell phone. Like, the smart devices are all from Isis Ra El, because they aligned with them. So they get the technology and they sell that technology. Now that Draco Queen, she's got to put on like high fashion. She's wearing so many rings and so much makeup and so many horrible outfits, and she puts models in outfits because they're really all borderline personalities. That's the way I see it. So more people put more, like Luke Skywalker has the chin. Robin Williams has the chin. I mean, all of them are a group, all right? And I even found out, where did that group come from? It came in 1040. There was a rabbi named Rashi, and 90% of people that are part of that group, the ASHKENAZI group, all come from a French man from 1040, okay? So 90%, they're not from even Isis Ra El, which is Babylon. They're not even from there, okay? And so that's why when I held up that little, like, on the dark web, most of them are from, like, origin of ASHKENAZI. That's France, Poland, and Germany. It's not even Babylon, which is Isis Ra El. Okay, and they came from one individual. But I want to get more into the Draco Queen, whose picture I put up. She doesn't have an identity. She's actually a borderline personality where she has to, kind of like Madonna, who's a Viper Queen also, continually present herself in a new outfit, in a new fashion, and be on stage. So they're dramatists. And if you notice, this is what I realized this week, and yesterday I was like floored. Like, it wasn't just like a cognitive realization, it was a realization in my body that every screen, every radio, everything about newspapers, and in the World War I and World War II, they just dropped pamphlets because not everybody had a TV or a radio. So they would drop propaganda pamphlets, okay, of what's going on. It's all drama. It is literally theater. It's a death cult theater. That's what it is. So she looks like a death cult theater. And they're made on psychopathic destruction because they are slaves. They were created as a slave race to the Anunnaki. Okay, they're basically upright lizard people or snake people like pythons and vipers. So they don't cooperate, but they love their drama. They want to be seen because they were created as these things that need to entertain to get loosh from you. That's not your shadow. And Stephanie Wagner, I'm making this video particularly for you because I saw you had posted something of a young man who's saying the reason that the Iran war is happening is because we haven't integrated our shadow. You cannot integrate your shadow because it's not you. The Iran war was planned in 1871 with Albert Pike and the Freemasons. Okay, this was planned 6,000 years ago when the second Draconian race came in to Sumer, and they're fighting each other because the way they project themselves forward is through dramatized destruction, which is what all of Hollywood is. All of it is just vile. I mean, it's nothing but murder and rape. I mean, I don't know what you all are watching, but it's gross. It's truly gross. And you will all sit there consuming it all day, feeding them louche through this two-way mirror that is the TV. And I've posted the patent numbers about how literally it changes it's a morphogenetic weapon, all right? It changes your DNA because you can't separate yourself from what you're seeing from these Draco queens. And that woman is so dark. It is so really repulsive. And she's designing, along with the Gray Pope, like from the Orsini family, right? The Gray Pope, Pepe Orsini, he's the Pope of Hollywood, and she's the Draco Queen. So you got to realize, they created religion, which is theater, right? The priest gets up there and does its ritual theater. They created judges and all that is called the justice system, right? Which is theater. No one ever gets a real trial, ever, here. Okay, there is no justice. Even all the way back into the 1800s, these judges were all paid off. They were all part of it, okay? And that's so massive. But anyway, Stephanie, you posted something. This young man who is absolutely clueless is saying, you know, it's a Jungian thing. The reason that there is a war is because we haven't integrated the shadow. There's no way to integrate the shadow. That's what they want you to think. With all the technology of TVs that are morphing into your brain, into your psyche, you are becoming a reptilian where you don't even know who you are. You don't have your own personal identity. My personal identity has nothing to do with what's going on TV. In fact, we were sitting by the fire last night and discussing, and Zane's here too, and we were discussing how, you know, this yard and this garden, like, this is, I mean, we live in paradise. Earth is literally paradise if there wasn't this theater going on, right? And anyone who sees Facebook for even 10 minutes a day, you see the president, the so-called president is making like these really meaningful looks at his so-called son, and they're projecting something. They're doing drama, they're doing theater when they're looking at each other in the eyes. It's all theater. It's ritual theater. That's what the Draco race is. It's ritual theater. That's what the Freemasons are. They do ritual theater. That's what religion is. It's ritual theater of reenacting blood sacrifice again and again and again, and that some martyr has to bleed out to save you from your sins. That's ritual theater. It's all a lie. Everything's a lie, okay? And it's all theater. So, you know, and then they had the so-called president's wife walk down some red carpet event with a cyborg CP3, what do you call that, C3PO, the guy from Star Wars who's a cyborg. We saw that way back in the 70s, right? So we got this thing addresses the nation, addresses the so-called nation, which is also theater, as if there's any real boundaries, as if there's any real borders. You know, I allegedly live in the United States, right? It's all ridiculous, folks. It's all theater. And so that's really the main problem, is our addiction to that drama, that theater, because we are creators. We create what I would consider the lowest level reptilians are advertising, because we are the creators. We create based on what we see, what we believe. I know that because for the last year, I've been doing the dance through the dimensions with the rainbow light body, And I can see whenever some big theater event like the apocalypse stuff of the Epstein files came out, which most of us knew about anyways, but then all of the attention on that created garbage in the dimensions. And we basically imprison ourselves. We do it to ourselves based on watching this Draco theater. And they truly are borderline personalities. Like, they got to have radio shows, they got to have TV, they got to have pop music, they got to have attention on them. Why? Because it's a hive mind. They really don't have any individuality. And people were putting up so many people, the HollyWood with this thing, that even the internet, if you search it, it'll say, that's a mark of someone who wants to entertain others. That is the mark of the reptilians. Now, please try to separate yourself. If you happen to have been hybridized into that group, it doesn't mean that you're evil. It means we've all been hybridized, and we need to get that out of us, which is also why I'm studying the full spectrum human stuff, and I've put that in my description many, many times. I've explained this many, many times. It's free and available. You can figure out how to do and get all those parasites, those poltergeists out of you. That is not your shadow. But how did you get it into you? By watching TV. You got it into you by watching the broadcasting through what's called the morphogenetic field. It's not really hereditary, folks. It's what are you consuming? What are you having intercourse with? And that, I'm quite sure you can change your DNA because you're recreating yourself every moment. It's true that this is holographic and you are literally creating yourself every single moment. It's just, it looks, because we're in the third dimension in the first density, it looks like, I'm just consistently me, but I'm actually recreating myself every moment. And if you're recreating yourself by watching these horrible things and then trying to integrate the shadow, and somehow the war in the Middle East has something to do with you, you can't integrate that shadow. That was written in the Bible by a whole bunch of psychopathic predators who were competing against each other in the Bible, right? Enki and Enlil, the Anunnakis, Jehovah and Yahweh, Moloch and Baal. I mean, these are all demons that had to write a Bible about themselves, again, because they loved the drama and the theater. This was written 6,000 years ago by AI and given to Moses. All right, now I'm going to get to Rashi. Look it up. All right, 90% of that group that has that thing came from an individual from France. And there was some very strange background about him, that his mother was somehow protected as if she was carrying a holy child, right? To me, that is like an IVF pregnancy with some kind of a hybrid inside of her. So that race and that blood type did not start until then. You've got to realize this, folks. It's very recent. That is considered like the Middle Ages. And then we had the Black Death and all kinds of stuff with getting these things in us, which then hybridized us further. It raped us. It degraded us. It ruined our consciousness. And then it went into like art, various edifices like churches and things like that. The burning of all the midwives, like 9 million midwives and their daughters who had the healing power of the land, were all burned after that. So we have been brainwashed and we're addicted to these reptilians, these Draconians. I mean, when I found out Robin Williams had that, and I had watched his movie in 1995, I think it was, What Dreams May Come, and I was very moved. Like, I'm not saying that just because he has that chin that he is evil, But what he is he's a slave. And you know how Robin exited. Extreme sadness, and he could play any role. Why? Because he's a borderline personality. Extremely sad because he didn't have his own sovereign truth of his spirit. Okay? And I think I've heard that of many of them. Like, they have to keep going. They have to keep drugging them. They have to keep doing the weird rituals with them. Many of them are disturbed, mentally, emotionally, physically, obviously. But they keep making them play those roles because they're a slave race. So HollyWood is a slave race. That's what you must know. And this guy, Rashi from 1040 in France, he had 5 daughters, and the 5 daughters were studied in the 5 books, 5 and 5, okay? And 1040 is the number 5, okay? 1 and 4 is 5. Well, guess what the asteroid number for DNA is? 55555. All right, so it's even in the historical theater. So some people say he had 3 daughters, but most say he had 5 daughters. They read the 5 books of Moses. Now, Moses was a reptilian, so they were studying the reptilian drama. It's all drama. All religion is drama. All government is theater drama of the death cult. That's what it is. So you cannot integrate that shadow because they've written a script. The whole script is written. The next script they're going to play is famine. They're playing that one. Okay, we've had a serious drought here in northern Florida. Thousands of acres have burned. Nebraska has burned. Hawaii is underwater. They're raising the prices on so-called fertilizer, which is not real fertilizers. It's petroleum product, and you shouldn't be eating any of that stuff anyways, in the grocery store. All of which was scripted theater, right? Your Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder French fries, icy Coke. That was theater. It was scripted into you. It's affecting your consciousness and your psyche and your DNA. So, all of the beef from Nebraska goes to Isis Ra-El. All of it. So, do you realize that most of the cows that you see standing in fields are exported? And someone said to me, what happened to all these babies that Epstein fathered? I was like, what are you talking about? They're USDA meat. Follow the sheriff's pages, folks. That's what I do. I follow the Leon County Sheriff, the Madison County Sheriff. I follow the sheriff's pages. You'll see what's going on. It's pretty unbelievable, along with the number of sheriffs who are arrested for child pedophilia. Madison County Sheriff, Monticello Deputy Sheriff, in jail for child pedophilia because they're watching the script and they're integrating the shadow of pornography. So if you want to integrate the shadow, that's what they're offering you, folks. You do not want to integrate the shadow. Okay, back to Rashi and Epstein. Guess what the main name of the Rashi's 5 daughters and their progeny was? Epstein. And yet they claim that there's no relation. Well, that's pretty interesting, folks. The other thing is the whole, belief in death and resurrection. We got that holiday shit coming up soon with the adrenochrome bunnies. Do you notice that Jeffrey Epstein's not dead and he's on the currency? He's on the money. I showed you that last video. These people live thousands of years. These are the vampires. How do they do it? Well, none of us are supposed to die, but we are all watching the movies where everyone gets dead. Everybody gets raped. Incest is very common. That's because in the reptilians, that's what they do. They breed each other because that bloodline cannot mix with my bloodline. It literally cannot mix without me getting a special shot. All right? And I'm not saying everyone of that bloodline is evil. It's like saying, because I live in the so-called United States and it is the military mafia of the world, that therefore I'm evil. All right, please try and separate yourself from this, but you must see the bigger picture here that I'm trying to explain. It has been proven by scientific analysis that if you're watching TV, your brain is synapsing again and again and again, as if you were actually in the theater, the movie, acting the roles yourself. That's how powerful theater is. You identify with Melania walking down the red carpet with the robot thing, and the robot thing saying that it's the future, right? It's running the whole government now. AI is running the whole government, and they appointed Mark Zuckerberg. The Technology Commission, the same guy who censored us all when we were trying to protect our loved ones from this. You know, half of my clients are gone. They're dying of cancer, whether they had this or not, because there's fiber optics running through the ground for all this technology shit. This is how beautiful paradises get destroyed. Okay, so you don't integrate the shadow. You do not do anything that Carl Jung or any of those high-level, private school educated people who get in the algorithm and their books get out there, right? You are not supposed to do this. I've really realized this. Not only that, but it's like the number of technologies that they use on us and the smart dust that they can activate you to suddenly be sexually stimulated. You know, it's in the nanotechnology. That's not your shadow. You cannot integrate that shadow, people. And the addiction that comes from the weird foods that people eat that aren't even foods. Like, I can't even say that word, or put on their skin and so forth. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Now I'm going to get back to HollyWood. This leaf is a holly tree. And I really had to figure this out. It's flowering right now, and it makes these little white flowers. And they're very fragrant. They're white flowers. Little tiny white flowers, okay? And then it makes red berries. So it's the white and the red again, right? It's the white and the red. Why did the Druids use this? What is it about this HollyWood? Well, when you're weeding the garden, because we have a garden right here, or when you sit on one of these leaves, it's going to draw blood. I was all scratched up. My fingers got really scratched from weeding anywhere near this holly tree. So it white and the red, and you can see that's a new holly tree coming up. The leaves are the green, the red, the white, the green. Okay, the red dragons, the green dragons, and the white is the sperm, this Y chromosome crap that is the faithful servant. Looks like a little snake, right? Y chromosome comes from snakes. Okay, so this is something, this holly tree, this HollyWood draws blood. It hurts. Don't integrate the shadow. All right, please. You know, I was gifted a book by Randy Green, who's a galactic walk-in also, and even back in 2015, she was writing like, a certain number of us need to stay natural, or we will, the star, which we are the star, we are pieces of the sun. If you keep integrating the shadow, it has to black hole. It has to black hole, because we're quarantined in here because we've got predatory stuff. So if you think that that's your shadow, I want you to change. Here's the exercise, okay? I'm going to give you something to do. Say you get a song stuck in your head from, I've already reviewed the video called Stop Feeding Satan, from the ritualized music that's out there. You get a song stuck in your head. You have to clear that perturbation, clear it, and then gaze at the sun, connect with our star, and let it basically clear for you. You can see it as colors. You can see, like, when we were with Glendy at the retreat, we would do like deep blue across the mind, and then to a lighter blue. Or we would do, then after that, purple, deep purple, seeing that in the color scheme of your mind, to a lighter purple, and then white or gold, and so forth, until you're radiating out these colors, gold and white, blue and purple, radiating in your rainbow body, these colors. You don't want to integrate the shadow. What you want to do is get a hold of that. It's from a movie. All of it's theater, or religious script, which is also theater. And go, no, that's not me. No, clear. You do not want to integrate the drama queen, the Draco queens. You do not. Everything you've ever heard on the radio, all of this, and even one of the truthers, one of the main truthers out there, the so-called truthers that work with Sasha Stone, he's got it. Those people are reptilians, folks. I mean, they look like they're humans. They're appearing to you. But notice how we're starting to notice this now. It's because we're going to get our eyes. We're going to be able to see them with the third eye. And once all the technology is down, if we can manage, you've got to focus on the sun. Because if you don't focus on the sun, it's not going to be able to starfire. And we won't be able to get rid of all this technology. All right. So I guess, we're at 31 minutes and Claude's coming right now with the wheelbarrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you around the yard a little bit so that you can see some of what we're doing. Groundwork. Your own sovereign nature, paradise. All right, that's what we read. That's what we read into as the truth of us. That's the truth. We don't have shadows. That's all HollyWood theater. Don't integrate it. All right, my dears. Bye-bye for now.